Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamerdad, with another video for you. So, as mentioned on the live stream, there is a new update coming out this week, and of course, in this case, it's going to be tomorrow, about 24 hours from now. Update 3.6.50, and this will be in the App Store or Play Store. It won't be in the, you'll have to actually fully update that before it being able to play. And let's get right into it. So, notice that we do have to actually have finished the closed off open world and the Rebel, which is basically the side episode that, features Helena and Galliard. And of course, there was a dungeon associated with it and so on and so forth. And afterwards, because it talks about future content, you do have to finish chapter 65 of the main story. So this is unlike the Rise saga, where you only had to finish a certain point of early on in the main story. These main, almost main characters do require a little bit more work to be put in. Now, that being said, Galliard finally has a 5-star SA, and also his partner, Helena, will also have a 5-star SA. Not much to say about that, but that is great. I believe they're going to be completely free because they're already free units, and I imagine that hopefully the challenges in order to unlock their SA aren't too difficult. If it's anything like the Astral Archive or the Stellar challenges that we've seen so far, it'll take a little bit of finagling, but nothing too crazy. So those are the free units. Absolutely free. If you've played the game to any length of time, you'll know that those are main story characters. Now, what's not free, but hopefully doesn't cost everyone too much? Xianhua. And this is our, I guess, first Asian-inspired or Chinese-inspired unit. It is a very powerful magic unit, and I believe this is going to be a non-type magic unit. So unlike the elemental ones, which obviously have weaknesses, resistances, and sometimes null, this new unit will be able to kind of bypass some of those mechanics in the fact that null damage is actually very, very powerful. For those who've used Benedict, and no, I do not have the 5-star version of Benedict just yet, you'll know how powerful that null slash can be with the right multiplier. For those who've used Colette, and I know a lot of you have 255, your free Colette from the Tales of Collab, you'll know how powerful that null magic attack. I know that hers is a little bit more janky, where you do have to rely on some sort of 50% luck-based chance of activating it. So those clears are usually RNG dependent. However, her might is definitely unsurpassed in the null magic arena. And now we have this new unit, which is obviously able to set magic zone, depending on the number of magic units up front. She also has a shared knowledge state where she basically steals a portion of your team's int and powers it to herself. Not actually like steals it, but kind of like copies and learns it, and it's called shared knowledge state. I believe that in effect at the start of each turn. She is an overpowered version of mana in the fact that you can have int and physical res down 50, and conversely power and magic resistance up 50, and likewise the opposite occurs as well. She has another move that can do power and magic res down 50, int and physical res up 50. So again, if the enemies or bosses only do one type of attacks, aka all physical or all magical, then you're going to have her in your front line to really mitigate any sort of issues. Not only that, she can increase her own non-type magic attack plus 50%. She can grant skill hit count plus 1. And so if you know anyone, if you know units like ES Suzette or other units, that even some of the free units basically give that bonus multi-hit count. If you can get 3 to 5 hits, you're still going to start getting a lot of extra damage multiplied on top. And that is a unique buff on top of other buffs as well. She also does have barriers that she can give to you, to your whole team, and she can give herself non-type magic attack buff up to 100% in Awakened Magic Zone. On top of that, her DPS is quite respectable. Obviously, her magic attack is based on int, and it can tack just like Eva, or alter his mana, where if the enemy has above 50% HP, it can attack again. So anyone who has those kind of units knows how powerful that can be. On top of that, she obviously is an SA unit, and so she has SA moves that can do tons and tons of damage, and it just inflicts weakness to enemy, you know, the exposed kind of mechanics that you see with a lot of SA units. However, I believe it just inflicts weakness to null. So, inflict weakness to magic for 1 turn. So that's ridiculous, especially if you have an overpowered magic team, the likes of the Imperfections and so on and so forth. And don't forget, you can dust off your Colette and use her as well. Also, with the SA, if you have Xianhua on the front line, everyone gets mental focus right off the bat, which is quite nice. No need to apply anything. You know, that is very, very, very nice. And she can also give magic crit damage up of all party members for 1 turn during the activation of her SA move. So, very, very interesting unit. The fact that there is null makes me worried for future content, because obviously all our elemental teams are going to be put through the blender again and may not be effective. For those who still want to use null slash, it's not like you can't use that. You still have Aldo and Benedict probably carrying your team. However, for any sort of elemental teams, you might have to kind of go back to this null magic, which I don't know if I like the signs of that. Now, the other gacha unit, and this is the first time I think we had 2 gacha units in one released in a very, very, very long time. I think the last time I saw something like that was actually during the main story when we had ES Sukiya as well as Nakoko. And those units were really powerful at the time and ultra powerful. Anyways, Annabelle ES is a fan favorite of many out there, some of which you'll probably know from the subreddit or from the Discord. So I won't name any names, but you know who you are. I'm actually a big fan of Anabel as well, since she was only my second 5-star unit after my waifu Suzette. Her design and the unicorn thing is really, really cool. And her attacks that have her riding on a horse are also really, really cool. She is also Minglin's unit. So don't forget there are Minglin's Palace, Grastas and so on and so forth, which you can say doesn't really matter. However, I always enjoy those kind of things. Okay, on top of all that, she is the first unit that can be both an offensive and defensive unit. She gets 1 kind of stack, and she can change her kind of mode. And one is a light mode, and one is a shadow mode. She also does some prayers, which obviously, depending on which mode it is either defensive or offensive. And remember that when you're in prayer mode, unlike singing mode, you can also still attack. She is a Fire Pierce unit, and she has significant DPS of things like Fire Pierce AoE times 2, and it does give power instant speed to all party members plus 50%, and obviously can give up to double that in certain modes, guarantee crits, and so on and so forth. Can support a lot of teams offensively that way. Now, these same moves have opposite effects if you're in the tanking mode, which instead of having power in speed up for your whole team and doing lots of damage, this one also will be power in speed debuff 50% and activates a counter attack, which will be kind of similar to the AS Radius of the world, where when it's attacked, aka AS Annabelle is attacked, counter attack also heals 50%, restores MP percent, and restores all statuses, which is very, very, very nice. That does not apply any sort of debuffs, but you already have moves to apply debuffs. Also, can give her the moves can also give preemptive restore heal, restore MP, give shields, and so on and so forth. So a very interesting hybrid unit, and of course has Stellar Awakened abilities as well. So the main interesting one is that when battle start, you have a barrier of all party members for 100% damage reduction for 1 time. So for those who've used the Garum Barrels of the world, and I did use him quite a bit back in the day, a first turn with 1 single hit to survive automatically is very, very nice. And so anyways, just enough of that. Looks like it's going to be really awesome. Obviously, the side episode will be fun as well, finding out more about Galliard and the synth-human battle. We'll see some guest appearances from units like Biaka and Melissa and so on and so forth. so on and so forth. More story, more dungeons, more mobs, more, more of everything, really. And the only thing I'm looking forward to is seeing whether or not these units are going to be on the same banner, aka 2 SA units on one banner, or they're going to separate it, which will be extremely frustrating. Now, on top of that, they do have the Guiding Star Encounter 7th anniversary. So remember that this is a spring festival, coincides with the anniversary for Japan. This is the first of its kind because we only had this SA system for about 6 months. And so now you can get a guaranteed fully awakened 5-star unit SA of a random one of the 10 units. Most of them are obviously a little bit older. I don't think any of the newer ones are featured, so you can see the 10 listed there. Some of which are great, some of which are decent, and some of which are honestly underwhelming at best. I'll talk about more of that tomorrow evening when I do the Should You Summons. And I also will talk about the Star Dream encounter. This will be a little bit different, and obviously the priorities for choosing a Star Dream unit are going to be different because the SA system is now here to stay forever. Any unit you choose through the SDE will not be fully awakened, will only give you at most 1 out of 3 awakening gauges if you choose it, or if you already have the 5-star unit, you'll add an additional 1 out of 3, aka the Star Dream encounter is more of a paid all cosmos star chart banner, because that's really what it is. And that's pretty much it with that. Of course, if you choose some of the older units, you'll have a fully powered up unit. Many of those older units are still quite powerful, although those are few and far between overall. And of course, there's Faithful for both, whereas you can get both of the units on the 10th encounter, I guess, well, as in both of them are upgraded for a total of 20%, 10 and 10, as opposed to a single, only 10. Okay, same thing, you can get the hybrid one, you can get both. So they're going all out. The devs are trying to get you to spend tons and tons of paid stones on each of these Faithfuls in order to land those both. So the banner for both is showing both units on the same banner, everyone. So that is a nice kind of olive branch that the devs are giving to us, though the SA system is quite painful nonetheless. However, 2 for 1, essentially, getting Xianhua as well as Annabelle ES on the same banner. That means 2 for 1 bang. And that's pretty much it. Okay. And of course, being that SAs are now released for retro units such as Galliard and Helena, all the moves are going to be increased. So yeah, that's going to be pretty fun. Take a look here. And I'm sure the DPS on these units are going to be a little bit better, but I can't imagine Helena replacing other Earth-type DPS magic or anything like that. Galliard still has a niche effect, but Alright, okay. So, something interesting because of more magic-resistant stuff. Before the adjustment here, non-type is not affected by type res buffs. So, in that sense, you can't shield against non-type magic. On the other hand, you can't boost non-type magic unless it specifically boosts non-type magic effects. So just something for the mathematicians out there to make sure when you're doing damage calculations, it is affected. So magic res up will affect non-type magic, whereas before it just kind of is ignored. And so I'm sure we'll see that more and more, because if you think about it, null physical attacks are still affected by physical resistance, right? All right, and of course they talk more about the popularity and a few things here. Make sure you do fill out the survey for 100 stones, and that's the link there. So tomorrow evening this is going to hit. Not sure how much I'm going to be able to play tomorrow, but I will try to play at least through part of it, and of course cover my thoughts about the banners in general. I will plan to summon for the dual banner. Not sure how much I'm planning to spend. I only have about 10,000 free stones, and of course, being completely free-to-play player, that is all I've got for the time being. Unless there are actually, no, we do get 1,000 free stones, and so we'll see that tomorrow as well.
let me know in the comments below how excited and hyped up you are for the Galliard essay, for ES Annabelle, you fans out there, for Xianhua, for anyone. And more importantly, more super bosses and more challenges out there as well. Anyways, time to get back to dinner and finish up the Rise saga. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.